Hello again. This is another video from my Burning Heaven setting, and I'll continue on with the racial descriptions. The Pagid are hunters and prefer the taste of cooked meat, but they will eat almost anything if they are hungry enough. They have a voracious appetite, and most of the time they are thinking about their next meal. Pagid that are starving have been known to ingest small rocks just to feel full. Their appearance: the Pagid have 4 legs that are very long, that start at the top of their bodies and reach down to the ground below them. Their torsos actually hang from beneath their legs, with their hands being on the lower portion of their bodies closest to the ground. They have 2 average size arms that can reach to the ground if the Pagid bends down a little bit. Their face is in the center of their torso, and it has a heavy brow and a fairly large mouth. Their mouths are filled with 4 rows of sharp teeth. At the end of each leg, the feet end in round stubs that have rows of small hooks that help in climbing. They also have a single gland on the foot of each leg that can smear a black poison on intended victims with a successful martial arts sort of strike or hit. They're very short-lived. They only live to about 40 years of age. They have accelerated healing. They're pretty good with their senses. Their legs are weapons, and they have poison, like I talked about, on the ends of their feet. The Pagid culture very much instills the hunting and gathering aspect of their lifestyle. They don't like to stay in one place for very long. They prefer the dense vegetation of jungles and forests, and are a little scared by the openness of a field or a plain. Many have never seen the sea or ocean before, and the sight of that much water would scare them. They are afraid of open spaces to a limited extent. Their preferred locations to live, they like I said, jungles and thick forests. Clothing and decoration. They like to adorn themselves in parts of trees that have fallen to the ground. They have lots of dried leaves and bark glued to them all over their bodies. It makes them look kind of strange. But they're very horrific in their physical structure, so they're strange but scary. Their demeanor: the Pagid are first and foremost a hungry culture, and much of their time is dedicated to gathering and hunting food. Some have been known to be interested in other things such as wealth or power, but they always come back to food. They very much think with their stomachs. They like to sing when they are eating, which is of course hampered by the fact that they have food in their mouths, so they like to sing with their mouths full. They look at this as a challenge and mumble their way through many songs while devouring prey. Yeah, they're pretty much a creepy race. One that could be very much used as antagonists, but I think one that could also be role-played to a good extent in a game. I think you could really emphasize that hunger and thinking with your stomach when you're playing this like a character of this race. The next race is the Shesh. They are boisterous and friendly people, being great hosts to their guests. They compose great stories of adventure, and sometimes they act them out in plays. Their favorite genre is comedy, and they have been known to put smiles on even the saddest friends. In combat, they are some of the strangest fighters, as they use paired weapons with long reach, and they use them in their stretching arms or extendable arms. They sometimes take foes by surprise by being able to attack things from farther away than expected, and they take this to their advantage. Their appearance: they have thin bodies and arms with no neck. The skin on their arms is quite stretchable, but in old age the skin becomes frail and sometimes tears, leaving painful wounds. Their natural skin color is blue and purple like a bruise, and their hair is normally a bright red or orange color, and their eyes are vibrant green, brilliant blue, or pink. They live roughly to about 100 years of age. Like I said, they have a long reach, more so than you would expect them to have. They can pretty much regenerate their limbs if any of them are cut off. They can heal pretty well, and they can change the color of their bodies to sort of different colors at will. Sometimes it affects their mood. Sometimes they just want to be a different color, so they change it. Okay, let's start talking about the Shesh culture. I said they like to laugh, and they like to be very merry. They like to share this humor with others that tend to be grumpy. They sometimes play little practical jokes on those that travel with them and enjoy those that like a little humorous silliness in their daily activities. They worry when they are hosting a party and will make sure every guest is treated like a king, or as well as can be provided for with the host's income. Their preferred locations, they really have no place, like no favorite place to live. They can be found almost anywhere. People of good cheer can be found. Most of them live in rural communities, although some have lived in cities, sometimes in other races if they have bumped into them. Clothing and decoration, most Sheshud wear a stretching fabric made from the hide of animal that lives near where most of them dwell. This fabric is a great boon to them, since their arms stretch in strange ways and the fabric doesn't rip. Demeanor, Sheshud like to have a good time, and they particularly don't like people that want to ruin that by being grouchy. Another thing about the race is that you can see on the picture there that they have these tubes that kind of run the length of their body, and they're kind of stretchy as well, but they're just really don't serve any purpose. They just, I don't know, we just did that because we thought they would look interesting on the race. The next race is the Timofey, and they pretty much the meaning of the word means mighty, and they have their own tongue that they use. It comes from two words meaning tomu, meaning mighty, and afu, meaning strength. They are born without the ability to wield magic. They can't cast spells at all. Their appearance, they look like large, husky, and hairy humanoids with a bear-like face. They have a snout extending about 2 inches forward from their face. Instead of fur, the Timofey have a thicker hair growth over their bodies. The hair on their head does grow continuously, thus it can be long. Male Timofey also grow beards and a mane upon their shoulders. Instead of nails, the Timofey grow sharp claws. Underneath their mostly black, brown, or auburn hair, the Timofey have a ruddy tan complexion. They have green, blue, and sometimes amber-colored eyes. For both the color of their fur and the color of their eyes, there are rare exceptions that aren't these. Their lifespan, they lived roughly about 250 years, but there is a ritual to last longer. They are pretty tall, probably about 6.5 feet, about 260 pounds, and they're normally ambidextrous. They have their natural claws, and their instincts are pretty strong, so sometimes they get a bonus to defense, something like that. The Timofey males are the majority of the culture, but there are females, and there also are those that can wield magic, but they're definitely in lesser percentages than the males. Kind of picture like the males, like the worker, do most of the job. That's most of the population, and then there's a select few that can cast magic, and the females are also lesser population. Timofey are much like their god, H.A.R.P. Although H.A.R.P specializes in unarmed combat, the Timofey use their combat skills in conjunction with weapons. They make poor counselors, yet they are staunch and hardy friends and allies. They can be found employed by powerful lords as personal bodyguards. Rarely do they speak, except if it's absolutely necessary or if directly asked a question, and even then they are curt in their speech. Their actions usually speak louder than words for them, and they are usually very honorable, and the sense of honor means a lot to them. They prefer to live in the mountains or the foothills of mountains, and they prefer forested areas. There are special species of drakes called the Mac Galu that they live near, and the reason they do that is because that species of drake has a lot to do with their culture and how they do things, their rites of passage, as it were. Clothing and decoration: males wear only leather tunics with or loincloths and forearm and leg greaves that allow for full range of movement. Females wear leather skirts and shirts or leather dresses. And the Tomo shaman, the magic users, wear leather and fur robes and carry staffs. And there's also body markings as well. They are hunter warriors. They hate and despise all that which is malignant and dishonorable. Their society is a hard existence since they live in the mountains. Their mountainous foothill homes make these aspects desirable, and they tend to, they like that life is hard. They like that they have to struggle and that their surroundings make them stronger. And they're very self-disciplined people as well. It's a very male-dominated society. Sometimes female children are kind of abandoned in preference for male children. There are clan leaders, and there are combats that take place, like rites of passage as things get older, especially when they become 16. There's the becoming ritual. This is a ritual where the clan shaman blesses the person for his upcoming journey to find basically a root needed for another ritual. So rituals and rites of passage are very big in this culture. For more information, you can check on the website. The next race is the Googoos. They are very short in stature, but what they lack in longevity, because they're short-lived as well, they make up for in living life abundantly. They are curious and adventurous and love to have fun at parties. They are known to act immaturely and sometimes rashly. Females give birth to 2 to 5 children that start to walk almost immediately and will start talking within the next day. So they have a very short childhood, or a very short, the very early stages of their life are very, very quickly, passed. They learn extremely quickly and are mature at 1 year of age. Googoos don't appear to age until they enter the last year of their life, when they will age very quickly until they die. Many of the tyrants bred their own people for use as cannon fodder in wars against other lords. These armies are very unprofessional and are like trying to control a bunch of teenagers that are just all hopped up on energy drinks, especially since they're immature and inexperienced. So they rarely live up to their potential. There's lots of war within their culture, where different lords are trying to jockey for the powerful spot, and lots of them die. Their appearance: these short people have sort of a baby doll appearance, and I guess a creepy baby doll sort of way. They have chubby arms and legs and big heads that are capped with large bony plates. They have strong necks to hold up their heads. They love to make headbutting attacks and to charge people and ram into them with their heads. They're kind of sharp as well, so they'll cut with the blades on their foreheads. They have the ability to fight or run for long periods of time, which is surprising to those that aren't familiar with the race. So they have high constitutions, that sort of thing. High endurance. Enemies sometimes think that they are being attacked by an army of toddlers when they attack, which is kind of a frightening and disturbing thing to see. Like I said, they have a natural attack with their sort of like a skull bash. They have a very hard head, so things like being knocked unconscious or basically being stunned very rarely affects them. The Googoos culture are kind of nomadic, and they're prone to go on adventures. Their children are raised on the road, and communities of them are usually mobile, though their lords that rule over them tend to make them fight against other nomadic tribes of them. And like I said, lots of them die in the wars. Though some settle down and make permanent dwellings, most of them leave to see the world when they reach maturity, and that's only at a year of age. Their preferred locations, they tend to really be found anywhere, but when they settle down, they prefer a pastoral life tending herds of Zazuzu, which are basically buffaloes with a shell. They're sort of these big, hairy animals that have a hard, shell-like structure on their backs. But they're very docile and easy to tame. Clothing and decoration: simple clothing that is durable and appropriate for the climate they're living in. Their demeanor: they are friendly and love good stories, good food, and a warrior's ethic for training. They do, however, seem to have severe attention deficit disorder, and they have a hard time staying focused on what they're doing at the time.